As far as major announcements go, I mean, he's not running for president. I created Species Nutrition with one mission in mind: to provide bodybuilders and serious athletes with no-nonsense supplements that work. I put my name and reputation on every bottle of Species Nutrition products. If you want to be your absolute best, join the evolution. Dave Palumbo here with an RX Muscle news update. As many of you have known, if you follow Instagram and you follow Chris Bumstead, CBum on Instagram, on Sunday there's going to be a major announcement. He's having a press conference. I believe it's going to be 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you look on his story on Instagram, you'll see the ticker. There's like a countdown on there. It's 3 days and some odd hours till the big announcement. And a lot of people speculating what it could possibly be. Now, I don't think Chris would make such a big deal about an announcement if he was launching a new, product, or if he was saying something like, "Oh, I'm going to start a clothing line," or add a clothing line. I don't think it's anything like that. I think it's got to be a major announcement. And it's, as far as major announcements go, I mean, he's not running for president, right? he's not throwing his hat into the ring in the independent presidential election. So I have to believe that it probably involves retirement. Will he be announcing that after the Olympia he's going to retire, or because we haven't really seen a lot of Chris on Instagram leading up to this Olympia, or is something going on? Is he injured? Is there a health issue? And maybe he won't be doing the Olympia. I mean, that would be a huge announcement, right? That would blow the top off the top of the Olympia. 60th anniversary, the biggest name in the Olympia. I mean, let's face it. I mean, yeah, Derek Lunsford is Mr. Olympia, but Chris Bumstead, is the biggest name in that show. He's got the most fans, the most followers. And if he were to announce that he wasn't doing the show, and like I said, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what the announcement is. That would certainly be huge news. Now, let's assume for a minute, let's assume that he's retiring after he competes. That's a big announcement, but that's something you can kind of do on the Olympia stage, right? You get your hand raised as the new Olympia champ again, and you make the announcement, "I'm done. I'm retiring. I'm hanging it up." Arnold did it, right? On the pumping iron stage. He said, "That's it. 7 Olympias is enough for me. I'm moving on to Hollywood." But actually, that was when he won 6. Then he did come back actually and win the 7th in 1980. But that would be a kind of a speech that you would get when when you're on the stage, whether he wins or loses. He can make that. So I have to believe it's more potent. It's something more important. And the only thing I can think of is that he's not doing the show. The question is, let's assume that's the case, okay, for a minute. Let's assume that Chris is not going to do the show. What would be the reason? Okay, there would only be 2 reasons, right? One is he got injured, and maybe he's been trying to, help nurse the injury back to health, and he's been going for therapy, and it's just not responding. And he feels like, I'm not going to be my best on stage, so I'm not going to get on stage. But, being the champion that he is, he's got almost 6 weeks. I can't imagine, unless he tore a pec or tore, a bicep. A strain certainly wouldn't keep him off the Olympia stage. I mean, Dorian competed with torn muscles and still won. I mean, Chris has got a great structure. He could probably fake his way through it. Now we know he's got that IgA nephropathy thing, which is an autoimmune disease. It seems to affect, his kidney health. As far as we know, the last couple of years he's been in really good health. Hasn't really affected him much. Is it acting up possibly? I know Chris has a newborn, beautiful, beautiful baby, and that's the most important thing in life to him. And I know, having kids myself, you become a lot less selfish. You're not going to risk your health doing a bodybuilding show when you want to be around for your children, for the next, 18, 20 years. So Is that the reason? Does he feel like maybe his health is in jeopardy? Maybe his blood markers are not where he liked them to be. Maybe he just feels like this might be too much stress on his body and he wants to stop now. Because a lot of times if you keep going and you push through it, yeah, you wind up winning and everything looks great, but then you wind up having, more problems down the road. So we don't know. He hasn't really hinted at what he's going to be talking about. I personally, if I had to guess, it would be either a damaged muscle, some sort of an injury, chronic injury that is really affecting his training, and or it could be, something related to his autoimmune disease that he has that maybe is acting up and flaring its head. A lot of times these autoimmune diseases that can kind of go dormant for a while come back when your body's under a lot of stress. And I will tell you this, raising a young baby is stressful. You don't sleep as much, and when you don't sleep, your immune system gets run down and gets stressed, and that can certainly cause flare-ups in everything. The first couple of years of my kid's life, I was not sleeping, anywhere near what I needed to do, and I was walking around like a zombie all the time, and I wasn't even competing, so I can't even imagine. I know Chris is really involved in his child, and I know he wants to be there for all the milestones that happen with kids as they're growing, and so he's definitely waking up at night with the kid, and he's definitely there when the kid's sick, and it's tough. It definitely puts a strain on your body, and if you want to win the Olympia title, you have to be selfish, and I don't think he's a selfish guy. I think he's a very unselfish guy. He loves his family, and it's very important, and that's admirable. I take my cap off to him, because a lot of people in his position would be selfish and really say, hey, my career comes first. I'm the best in the world. I got to defend this title. And once again, all this is speculation, because I don't even know what he's going to announce. I'm just trying to figure out what would be big enough that he would have a countdown and a press conference where he's going to make that much hype and hoopla about it. And I don't think, Chris is not one of these guys, he's not an alarmist. He's not one of these guys that's going to hype up something that's really not that important. So my belief is that he's not going to be doing the Olympia, or he's going to be announcing his retirement after the Olympia. But once again, if that was the case, the second option, I would really think that he would announce that on the Olympia stage, not prior to the Olympia, because I don't think it's as big a news. I think he would focus on winning the Olympia first. So will Chris be on that Olympia stage? That is the question. It's looking like it could possibly be that he might not be in this show. What would be the reason? We'll find out on Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard. Stay tuned for that. I know I'm going to be tuning in. We might even do a live stream, leading up to that, like maybe 15 minutes before it. We'll stream the announcement, and then we'll do a reaction to it. Chris is a great guy. He's great for our sport, but he's also unselfish, and he's very smart, and I think he wants to be around for a long time. He wants to be a father for his kid, and his family comes first, and I really respect that about him. So stay tuned. Sunday, we'll find out what's going on. For now, I'm Dave Palumbo with an RX Muscle News Update.